Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our first episode of Resolution Talk. My name is Joshua Flores. I'm going to be your host through this journey of financial freedom and learning all about a new decentralized ecosystem platform that you can join up with in order to help fund your local businesses, businesses around the world, and to help to bring business funding out of the hands of big banks and into the hands of everyday people. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here today with the owner and CEO of Resilution. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Matthew Ettswold.
Great to be here, Josh.
Thank you so
Thanks
much
for
for
having
coming.
me.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for allowing me to join you on the journey of bringing resolution into the world of finance and bring it really out into the eyes of everybody that we have out here that are interested in learning all about resolution has to offer.
Absolutely. You know,
We're here basically, this being our first episode. We're going to introduce all of our watchers, all of our viewers and listeners into exactly everything that resolution has to offer for the normal everyday person. So, Matt, we're going to go ahead and jump into it. Our first thing we got to know: what exactly is resolution? What exactly does resolution have to offer, and why is it different than other crowdfunding, other funding, or investment models?
right. So, Resolution is a decentralized investment platform where we're going to connect businesses with investors using blockchain technology. Now, usually you have GoFundMe or Kickstarter
Right.
programs where you can invest money in businesses, but you don't know where that money goes once you invest. So, what we're doing is we're taking verified businesses who need business funding, we're allowing the community to back them financially. And then on our end, we're going to attach a smart contract, a piece of code to the point of sale system or the business data system where you can track transparently on your dashboard how that money is being spent, where it's being spent, and how it will come back to you.
So it really is a fully transparent system to where throughout the course of your funding of the business, the business accepting the funds, what they use those finances for, and how you get your returns. Everything is going to be completely transparent due to the smart contracts.
Exactly. So if you know the concept of Shark Tank, right?
Hmm.
So Shark Tank, you have the business come onto the stage, and they pitch to the sharks, and the sharks they ask questions, and you're able to do your due diligence. So what we're doing is allowing the community to ask the business what it needs and to be able to financially back them. So through the blockchain, we're allowed to make that process transparent. And that gives peace of mind to the individual that's investing that where their money is going is where it should go, and how it's being spent is how it should be spent.
That's an absolutely amazing um, thing that you're offering there for everyday people, because most people don't realize that with businesses nowadays, like you said, with the funding, everything happens on the back end. Everything happens, you know, you're in trying to invest, big banks get involved, businesses are able to spend the money on, any number of things.
Mm.
Whereas this gives you that transparency and lets you feel like you are more in tune with the actual business that you are funding yourself.
Exactly. A business needs funds all the time, whether to expand or to hire, whatever they need to do to conduct business. So they're going to go to the bank, they're going to ask for a loan, and then the bank is going to charge them an interest rate. Well, instead of them going to the bank, what Resolution is going to offer is they can go to the community, and the community can back them financially, and then the reward of the financial benefit of their success should go to them instead of the bank. So we're really putting the community and the individual into the value stream that they were locked out of from before.
That's an amazing process that you guys are putting together to be able to take that extra step out of the hands of the big banks. Speaking of the process that would normally go through with big banks and everything like that. What is the Resolution ecosystem? How is Resolution funded? How are people able to actually work with Resolution in regards to some of the things that I've learned from your website, the Resil Mall, Resil Fund, and Resil Pay?
Mhm. So what we've done is we've created a closed loop, self-sustaining economic ecosystem. So with Brazil Fund, you can fund businesses in your own backyard or halfway around the world. With Brazil Mall, then you're allowed to buy from those businesses their products or services in a decentralized marketplace. So decentralized just means there's no intermediary. There's no big platform taking a cut, and there's no instead, what we do is we use a blockchain escrow.
Mm-hmm.
So when the buyer picks their item, they put their money that they pay for the item into an escrow system. Then the seller has peace of mind that they can send their item to the buyer. And once the buyer receives the item and they're happy with their purchase, then they can release that escrow. So both parties are taken care of, and they both have peace of mind in the whole process.
And that with the mall aspect of it, with the shopping aspect, that also allows individual businesses to be able to set their own prices and terms, because with it being decentralized, there are not excess fees, um, excess taxes, things like that. So the company themselves would be able to set possibly a better price point for some of the goods and services that we're used to having to pay whatever funds and whatever fees that are normally guaranteed. The businesses can be able to provide those prices themselves.
Exactly. So that's what resolution is all about. It's about the individual making their deal, whether the business is making their deal for the funding or a seller is making their deal on the mall. They are satisfied that what they're putting out is what they're able to, and they're not being taken advantage of. Like so many platforms take advantage of their sellers and even their businesses that conduct business on there. You know, the fees are high. There's intermediaries that just shouldn't have to be there. And what blockchain allows us to do is get rid of those intermediaries and connect buyer and seller directly and create this synergistic relationship where then they can go back and forth saying, you know, if they needed a product, then the business can provide the product. And you have much more of a direct relationship than you do now. You know, if Amazon were to give up their fees and the platform that they operate is centralized,
Mm-hmm.
right? Let's just be honest.
Right.
So if you were to take a platform where you get rid of that element, I think you're going to have more comfortability between buyer and seller, and you're going to build trust, right? Not only do we have that direct interaction, but the seller and buyer are going to be able to interact between. They're going to be able to build trust because the reputation and reviews that will be attached to that. So when the buyer, buys an item and I'm happy with that, then I'm going to leave a review on the seller, and people in the ecosystem are going to be able to see that.
Right. And you'll also be able to make these purchases on the mall and with the fund utilizing the Resil token, which we'll go into in a little bit here, as well as real world assets.
Mhm.
So you'll also be accepting things along the lines of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other real world assets to be able to utilize as purchasing power in the fund and in the mall, correct?
Exactly. So we use a native token in our ecosystem that allows us to capture the economic energy that the community is putting out. You know, when you use dollars and I use dollars, your dollars don't go up because I use mine.
Right.
And we lose that cooperation between us that we could benefit one another. So when I'm buying an item or you're funding a business, we can help each other because we're just conducting economic activity. And that's where blockchain really shines, is the token represents that value of the effort being put into the economy. Just like we're so separated now, and we need to have unity in our economy.
Right.
We need to come together. We need a unified platform where not only we can back our businesses, we can buy our goods and services, and we can buy goods and services in real life. And that's where the pay comes in. So Resil Pay is a payment system that runs through the entire ecosystem. That when either you're funding a business, buying goods and services, or paying in real life, that system is using our token, but it's also bridging back to fiat. So you're not on this island. You can go back and forth.
Right.
Because we're not trying to replace the financial system. We're trying to parallel it. We're trying to give it an upgrade and enhance it for the individual using it.
Fair enough. That's a great way to ensure that people working together can help to increase their value for what it is that they're trying to build. So, speaking of the token, the Resil token, what exactly is the Resil token, and how does it play a role in the community of resolution and in transactions?
Right. So Resil is used for funding, purchases, voting, and governance. Right. So the mechanism in the token is when a business pays back their investor, that revenue is taken and buys the token automatically. So what you're doing is creating positive buying pressure on the token that is becoming more valuable for everyone using it. So, we talk about mass adoption. That's one of those buzzwords in this space. And what we're doing is creating mass adoption through businesses because we're creating all that value goes into the token. So by adding in these businesses, by adding in the mall and the pay, you create economic utility that just wasn't there before.
Right. And by having everything working together, and like you said, with the economic cooperation that we have between buyers, sellers, everybody utilizing the fund together, you help to build the growth in the value of the Resil token by utilizing its value.
Exactly. And also, so as a business, as Resolution, the ecosystem is going to generate fees. Whether you're funding the business or you're buying goods, there's going to be a small fee generated. But we're not going to extract that value from the ecosystem. We're gonna put it back into it in the form of pools. So we're talking about governance and voting. Those pools are going to be voted on in what's called a DAO structure, a decentralized autonomous organization, where the community will have the authority through a vote to use that pool for a cause they all agree on, whether that's a charitable cause, whether that's a project in their own community. And that's really the point, is taking this economic value and giving it back to the people, recycling it rather than extracting it.
Instead of putting it in the hands of CEOs, big banks, big businesses, and stuff like that, instead of taking that money and hoarding it and increasing the wage gap and the wealth gap that we are seeing now all over the world, we're offering that the ability to take those pools and really put it back into the hands of the everyday people that inform, not necessarily in the form of a check, but in the form of being able to make things happen and get things done. That's an amazing thing that you guys are.
In today's system, it's extractive.
Right.
All the value flows to the top. And what we don't have is a circular value system. And that is what Resolution is here to build. We want all of that economic action to flow back to the people. They're the ones who create the value in the first place. So it's only fair that they share in the value that they created.
So that's amazing. So basically, it is a form of a profit sharing that the more resolution builds, the more resolution grows, the more the people will see a return on their investment, as opposed to what we see nowadays with the more money you put out, the next jet a CEO is able to purchase.
Right. So if you take the traditional model of stocks and you have stocks in a business, you're earning money on or losing money on those stocks. What we're doing is allowing you to earn on their revenue they are already generating. So if you take a pizza shop that is generating revenue from selling pizzas and they need a pizza oven, they're going to be able to go to the community, say, hey, we need this much money for our pizza oven. We're willing to pay this much back in interest, and we should be able to pay this much in around this time. So what we're doing is we're making it transparent. we're streamlining investment and we're making it more efficient for the individual.
Right. So in that example with the pizza shop, so basically they get their funding from Resolution. They sign the smart contract with their investors, the people that donated the Resel or invested the Resel into the pizza shop. They get their pizza oven through the smart contract. As they produce their sales, the sales numbers go right back into Resel. The funds go released right back to the investors, so you can see point by point where your money goes, where your funding is being used, and how the returns are coming back to you, all in real time, thanks to Resolution's smart contracts.
Exactly. And the smart contract, it takes out the intermediary, it creates transparency, and it creates automation. You know, when they're selling pizzas, you're able to see that in real time, and you're making a part of every pizza being sold.
Right.
And then if you take a gym that needs gym equipment, they're selling memberships. If you take a grocery store, they're selling groceries. You can help these businesses in so many different ways, and they can help you in so many different ways. And that's the synergistic relationship that we're trying to create with Resolution.
And it's basically, it would work for any kind of business, really, when you think about it, because not even people that sell goods, people that provide services, like, lawn maintenance and landscaping companies that provide a service every month that they get billed from their, they get their bills in from their customers, they would be able to take and put that back into the Resolution. If they were to take, money from investors in Resolution and put it into their equipment, any kind of services, any kind of providers of any kind of business would be able to benefit from this Resolution ecosystem that we're building here, that would allow them to be able to reach out to their investors personally, hand in hand, without having the extra influence of big banks and their interest rates, and without influence from outside mediaries.
Exactly. You know, if you take a lawn care company that needed a new lawnmower, and the community backs that financially, and then when they're selling their memberships to their customers that they're cutting lawns, then the individual who invested is making benefit every time a lawn is cut. And there's any good, any service generating revenue can fit into Resolution.
That's amazing. It's really an amazing thing that you are putting together here. You and your amazing team that you guys have put together. Everybody's working hard to be able to bring this to everyday people that are out here just trying to make a living and want to see their dollar go further. They want to see their money go further and be in the hands of people, not in the hands of big banks, not in the hands of major corporations. This is an amazing thing to be able to help out small businesses in your local area or all across the world. With the Resolution platform, once everything goes live and we have the businesses that are coming in, you'll be able to really see information from businesses across the world,
Yep.
not just in your area. So if somebody's story touches you, you could donate, you could invest in somebody's business from the other side of the world, the other side of the country, the other side of the state, and be able to help somebody that you really believe in.
Exactly. The beauty of it is somebody in Japan or South Korea could be able to invest in a business on Main Street here in the United States, and vice versa, because we're crossing borders, we're cutting down fees, and we're putting the economic power back in the hands of the people where it belongs in the first place.
It's an amazing idea. It's an amazing structure that you guys are putting together. It's something that I can't wait to see how it's going to grow. Fans, friends, thank you all so much for joining us here for this first episode of Resolution Talk. Once again, my name was Joshua Flores. I am here with Matthew Ettswold, the owner, founder, and CEO of Resolution. For more information, make sure to check out resolution.io. Check out Resolution's social media pages. You can follow us on X. We have roundtable discussions every week on X. And for any more questions, feel free to check us out once again on resolution.io. Thank you so much for your time. We'll see you at the next episode.